Hi, my name is Paula Shaw and I'm from Soulful Guiding, and in this video I'm going to discuss the major astrological themes, energies and influences of this lunar month. I do these videos every month as an offering to give you guys a heads up of what's coming and to try to find where you are in that story. And this lunar month is actually an eclipse month. And that just means the new moon will be a solar eclipse and the full moon is actually going to be a lunar eclipse. So everything is amplified. You can think of this as a new moon and a full moon on steroids, totally charged up. And all of the themes that I'm going to discuss are, the volumes turned up. So if you've been starting to feel a bit disturbed in your mind, agitated, like a feeling of something's coming, something's happening, then this might help you to understand why. We're moving into a really powerful eclipse cycle that is connected to some bigger cycles, bigger patterns and themes that I'm going to briefly discuss in this video as well. I'll weave it all together. So this lunar month starts with a solar eclipse, new moon in Libra. This will be happening on the 14th or the 15th of October, depending where you are in the world. And then the full moon for this lunar month is a Taurus lunar eclipse, and this will be on the 28th or the 29th, again depending where you are in the world of October. Before I go into each eclipse, I really want to talk about Pluto and Saturn. And the reason these planets are significant this lunar month is because they'll both be turning direct, stationing to turn direct. Whenever a planet stations, it appears to be standing still from our vantage point on Earth. But all of the themes of those planets and the signs that they're in are, again, amplified. This is the month of amplification of everything. So Pluto is the lord of change, of transformation, and Saturn is the lord of time and the lord of karma. And these two planets have been in this powerful process. Pluto is at the final degrees of Capricorn, which means it's at this powerful point of completing on a cycle that began in 2008 of Pluto moving through and purifying everything to do with Capricorn, which is our institutions of power. These old hierarchical structures. If you've been watching my videos, you've heard me say this so many times, but we need to keep remembering to know the context of where these eclipses are playing out. So Pluto is actually going to turn direct just before the new moon solar eclipse. So that stationing, that amplification in these later degrees of purifying everything to do with our hierarchical structures, these old vertical top-down power over patriarchal hierarchical structures have been really being challenged. They've been going through a review. We're seeing the shadow in it. And we're also seeing how these old dynamics have wanted power over. And Saturn will turn direct, station, and amplify just on November 4th, just after the lunar eclipse. So it's all within influence. And these are the two outer planets that are actually changing direction this lunar month. The rest will still be retrograde. And all the personal planets will still be direct. So they're very significant. They're really saying, look at me. And so what I've been noticing and feeling in this Pluto-Saturn dynamic is this experience of time changing. And you think about Pluto as control, Capricorn, the institutions, and this amplification of this hundreds of years long process since the Industrial Revolution of factories and the capitalists controlling people's time, controlling your daily routine so that you could go and work, or our ancestors could go and work. So I don't know if you know this, like the normal workday pre the Industrial Revolution, which historians say the Industrial Revolution was really between 1760 and 1840. But did you know that before factories existed, what the general human's life looked like was really different? People did not work extended periods of times. They worked seasonally, and they worked with the light, because this was before fake light, fluorescent lights. So before this industrial revolution, humans did not work long hours. They had breaks. This is research, and this is not just in one or two cultures. This appeared to be across the whole planet. And there was a natural rhythm. People would work fast and slow. And then the Industrial Revolution happened, and it's really interesting because the bigger cycles of Pluto really do coincide with when this last revolution happened. And some people are saying we're living through another revolution now, which is this developing technology revolution. So these bigger cycles are coming into a pattern right now where it's coming into a new alignment. And I just feel with these eclipses, this breaking down of these old myths, people starting to think about what you're doing with your time. How do you want to spend your life? Seeing through this illusion and this myth that if you're not working 12 hours a day, you're not productive. More and more research shows that people are more productive when they get these breaks, this natural rhythm that humans seem to be living for thousands of years pre the Industrial Revolution. People still worked hard, and I'm not romanticizing pre-Industrial Revolution times. I know medical care was terrible. I know there is great things that are happening now, but the illusion of having a lot more leisure time, like, let's be honest, for most people on Earth right now, that is an illusion. So I just feel with Saturn turning direct and going through Pisces, and Pisces is the sign of the collective in the sense of we're all one. The illusion of separation dissolves, but it is also symbolic of the masses and the mass deception. And this is where religion in its shadow can be connected to Pisces, where it's like we all just have to believe this one way so that we can all just be in harmony, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with social agreements, social contracts. But what I am saying is with Saturn having gone retrograde, Saturn is the Lord of time and karma, unraveling our myths, deception, our beliefs, these stories where we all have to follow a certain way, the fish in Pisces. And with Pluto doing this massive purification process through Capricorn, it appears that these illusions of how we are meant to live, these power over structures, this mass deception is going through a change. I am not saying it's bad. It's not a conspiracy. I'm not commenting on a conspiracy theory. I'm just observing the patterns in the astrology. And because these two planets are turning and stationing and turning direct to this lunar month, during eclipses, I feel that collective outer story, those myths are breaking down. And these are times for you to really question, what is it that you believe about your life? And is it really true? Do we really have to work 12-hour days? Do we have to sleep at the office? Do we have to spend most of our time trying to improve ourselves in a career expression? The quality of our lives is being up-leveled at this time. And so with Pluto and Saturn turning direct, there is going to be this amplification for all of us to evolve, to take back some personal agency over your life. I'm not saying everyone can quit their jobs and just, go and live a free life. I'm not saying that at all. But this reassessment of how you're spending your time, the quality of your life. Do you really need all of that excess money, information, objects? Did you know that pre the Industrial Revolution, pre-factories, the general population didn't really have savings. There was nothing to buy. So when they were not needing money to survive, they didn't work. They didn't work. And then the history shows that factory owners came in and they started to manipulate time. They started to force people to work not seasonally. They brought in fluorescent lights so people could work throughout the winters. And we're living the consequences of that now. And the cycles and the planetary dynamics suggest that that story is changing. I don't know what it's going to look like. I just know that it's shifting. And I wouldn't be surprised if over the next couple of decades, we see massive shifts back to more power to the people. And this is with Pluto power moving into Aquarius. So Pluto will dip back into Aquarius now that it's getting ready to start moving forwards out of Capricorn at the beginning of 2024. Pluto will go back into Capricorn for a little bit, approximately a few months next year, and then it will go back in permanently to Aquarius in 2025, and we're going to go through this massive shift of power, of the distribution of resources, including wealth, knowledge, all of it. And I don't know what that means. I don't know how it's going to happen, but everything is starting to appear as though that's the direction we're moving towards. In hindsight, we will know. We will look back. It is going to change. It is shifting. And when I do my forecast for next year, I'm going to talk a lot about this. So if you're not already subscribed to my database, to my email list, subscribe in the links below and you will receive that for free. I create it as an ebook and I go deep into these themes and you can read it over time. So yeah, it's obvious we have to reorganize life on Earth. It's just so clear. And Pluto and Saturn turning direct this lunar month during eclipses, you know it has to change. And so what does that mean for you personally? This means that you can start to unravel the conditioning. You can continue if you already are, continue questioning the myths and start to open your heart, your mind, your soul to the new ways that you can be on this planet. So all of the myths are going to continue to be challenged, and that's going to be really highlighted, especially with regard to relationships at this new moon solar eclipse in Libra. Libra rules over the balancing act between everything. It's symbolized by the scales. So when things get out of balance, it's got to start. You've either got to subtract from the other side or add to reharmonize. It's never, ever perfectly balanced, maybe for a moment. But the world we live in, it seems that it's in this beautiful dance. And this is where we look at this relationship between people. It's always a negotiation. It's always a balancing act. And when you have a new moon, solar eclipse, and it's with the south node, and the south node eclipses always indicate there's something we have to let go of, something where potentially you're stuck, that you can release and purify and just be done with. But it's a new moon, solar eclipse, so there's something new that you can vision in. But first you've got to let the old stuff go, especially when it comes to relationship stories, myths, fears, patterns in your mind. This new moon, this lunar month is the best time to really do an honest audit, an honest assessment, review of your expectations of yourself, of the people in your life, of what you think relationship was meant to look like. What have you inherited from an old paradigm, from these old constructs, these old institutions of till death do us part? I am not saying committed relationships aren't powerful, meaningful, and something to aspire to. I think it is so beautiful. And yet it is not the only way to be in a deep, respectful, beautiful, life-enhancing exchange with others. It is not the definition of a successful relationship story is if you stay together until you die. It's not. And at this new moon, you may find you're looking at things where you've had big expectations of how you thought this relationship was meant to be, or you've been trying to make it work over and over again and it keeps staying the same. This eclipse, if you're noticing this in your life, is going to really encourage you to let it go, to surrender, to release, to forgive, and to maybe open your heart and love in a new way that you'd not considered before. Maybe there's some more acceptance of somebody in your life, of yourself. Maybe you're having a look at your expectations and getting them in check. If you're expecting something that you know someone can't give you, you are creating suffering for yourself. This eclipse is saying, be real. Have an honest look. And this is where we need to look at Venus. Venus is the ruling planet of both eclipses. So she is the ruler of Libra and Taurus. And this is why we need to look at what she is doing this lunar month. So during the eclipses and for most of this month, Venus will be in Virgo, the sign of the priestess, the sign of bringing things back also again into harmony, looking at the patterns, pattern recognition. What am I repeating over and over again? What relationship patterns am I repeating over and over again? And if you break up with all of the old conditioning, all of the old stories, and you face some of your fears as to why you won't change, or as to why you are expecting someone else to change, this eclipse season, Pluto and Saturn turning direct could really liberate you and release you. But as long as you apply your mind, focus in, work with Venus and Virgo and look at the details and see where you've lost your way or where the other people in your life have lost their way, and practice compassion. There's also a theme this lunar month around poverty consciousness, and this is really amplified with the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus, and this invitation for all of us to continue evolving our story with Taurus. We've had the North Node in Taurus for approximately 2 years, or just under 2 years, and now we have the final eclipse. However, the North Node has already shifted into Aries, but this is an eclipse where the actual eclipse itself is in Taurus. So it's really completing on this almost 2-year cycle where we've all had to honestly reassess our values, reassess the way that we relate to resources, the way that we feel about security and safety. And if you live in poverty consciousness, and I don't mean, it's not about how much you have, it's how you feel about how much you have, you will see this reflected in your relationships. If you don't believe there is enough in this world, enough love, enough resources, you will live in fear. And these eclipses will really agitate and amplify this. Yeah, so this will be a lunar month for you to see what's being disturbed, see what's rising to the surface, and look it in the eye and see how much of it is coming from the conditioning and the beliefs of an old paradigm, of an old culture. Really, really shift the veil. Hone in with Venus and Virgo and see the details. See what's really going on. Recognize your patterns and open your heart. There is more than enough love. There is more than enough resources on this planet. We have just got some bizarre humans that are wanting to hoard so much right now, and they're probably gripping on more tightly. I mean, I know in my country, and I'm aware of what goes on in many countries. I work with people all over the world. This is a pattern where the old conservative agendas are kind of white knuckling it right now. They don't want things to change. Humans hate change. If you can handle change, you will find these times extremely liberating. Open yourself, let go of these weird agendas, and as each individual, as you shift and you get out of poverty consciousness and you go, I don't need all that extra stuff. I'm not saying live like a poor person or go homeless. If that's your truth and your liberation, it can be a high expression. I am not talking about that. I am talking about what ideas about love, relationship, money, finance, safety, security. What have you inherited? What have you bought into? Yeah, that you actually, when you really think about it, it's not what you care about. Again, we need money to live. Please don't think I'm saying throw caution to the wind and quit your job and just leave your partner. I mean, just step back and have another look. Look at where you block or hold back or keep giving to things that don't reciprocate anything. And use this lunar month to question that, to work in ritual. Work with your therapist, go and see a healer, talk to your friends, or even just listen to this and reflect on these things. Challenge your view, because we are living through a time, we're living through a revolution. Honestly, the astrology lines up with the Industrial Revolution, as I shared, but also the French Revolution, the Civil War in the USA. What came of those revolutions? A reunification in a new way. Times are changing. And if you can allow those parts of you that are invested in the old paradigms to fall away, to purify, then you are making yourself available to the new that's coming in. And that's empowering, and it's really exciting. And this will contribute to the evolution of our planet and our species. It can be extremely exciting. But one more thing is that Jupiter will be conjunct the full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. This is where Jupiter wants to come in and show you how you can expand your vision. Yeah, so like I said, North Node is in Aries. Jupiter is sitting there in Taurus, expanding your vision, but it's also going to be this energy of who are the people that help you, who are the people that support you, where is the wisdom, what is your spiritual practice. There are teachers and guides and helpers out there. And if you're a helper, help more during this time. If you are really feeling your energy activating and building up before we get to the lunar eclipse in Taurus, find people that can help you. Jupiter wants to help you to know that it's okay, to have faith and to know you are supported and there are people that can help. We've got this. You've got this. Find the resources and the guides and the tools that keep you going, and you will be boosted at this lunar eclipse and for all of this lunar month. So yeah, take it easy out there. If you found that interesting, I have done a video just about the whole of this eclipse season that you can watch and do another deep dive. But also check my written astrology snapshot at my website, soulfulguiding.com. Check out my Patreon. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. All right, I will see you again soon. I'll be doing a video on the new moon solar eclipse in Libra in a few days, just to focus right in on that. And yeah, see you soon. Take care, stay safe, and I hope this eclipse season supports you to let go of the old stuff that blocks your greatest evolution.